Hello. So, another month has ended. This video, um, technically into March, both recording and uploading it, but had a technical hiccup and stuff with my computer, so I actually had to re-record this video. All right. Try to keep on topic here. I don't know where to start. So I'll just start with games because I only actually finished one. I finished Super Mario RPG on the Switch. Um, it doesn't actually say remake or remaster on it, although it clearly is. It's slightly easier than the original. There's like some things that were done to make it not as annoying, like the way you travel on the map screen, for example. Um, but it still does have some of its issues from the original taking place in the new version, like the jumping stuff, platforming and jumping from one point to another the way you want to is difficult because of the it's called an isometric perspective. Not want to use big terms and people not know what I'm talking about. Basically, because the way that everything is angled when you're moving down the stuff, it's diagonal. Um, it makes any jumps you do difficult because it's not on the up and down, left and right that normal 3D stuff is done. And it's because you can't move the camera freely in the game. Um, they could have worked that into it when they remade the game, but they didn't for a reason I'm sure that they have one, maybe to make it as true to the original as they can, which is cool. I would have preferred had they went ahead and made it so you can move the camera and make jumps just a little bit easier, especially in the later half of the game. There's an area where you have to go up vines and jump across them. Now, it's completely optional which side you take. There's an easier side to jump across than the other. But if you want to go up the difficult path, if you want to call it that, it is very frustrating because it's like I don't know which direction to aim at to get the jump to go the way I want it to. So it's frustrating basically. Um I say that it's pretty much it's Super Mario RPG. You're Mario, there's a story involving the seven stars and this sword that was sent by Smithy into Bowser's Keep or Castle, whichever term you want to use. I believe it's called his keep when you're inside, but a lot of times it's called his castle, so I don't know. I think everybody that's even remotely heard of the game at least knows that much about it. Start of the game, Bowser was up to his normal stuff, kidnapping Peach. Mario went to stop him. In the middle of what normally takes place, a sword just into it and sends everybody out of the castle. It destroys the bridge, which I have no idea how it destroys the bridge. It destroys the bridge. You can no longer get to Bowser's home. It's inaccessible for the time being. Bowser can't even get to it. And it has this cute little funny emotion of little tears going up and down his face as he goes to figure out what to do. And this is basically the game that is famous for the fact this is the only game Bowser joins your party. You can have Mario and Bowser fight side by side against enemies, which is fun. I mean, the concept's cool. There's a lot of silly stuff. Like there's an optional room to unlock. There's like a puzzle to unlock it, and Bowser can get a chain chomp as his weapon, and he goes to the chain chomp, and he goes, "She's a little shy. Turn away, Mario." And you don't see what he's doing to soothe the chain chomp. Just he goes, there. All right, she's ready to go. I'm like, what? What happened? What are we doing? And there's the silliness with the guy that's trying to marry Peach that's not Bowser. What is his name? I seriously, there's this whole part in the game, I cannot remember his name. It's just so ridiculous. I'm like, wait, what? It's not Bowser trying to marry Peach this time, okay? It's this goofy guy. And he gets so distracted that he forgets and lets it go. It just leaves. I'm like, what? Like, what is going on? He left. Okay. And there's like a scene before that though. If you hurry up and get all of Peach's stuff and get it back to her by giving it to that goofy guy, she'll actually kiss Mario. But if you take too long, it's funnier and way better to take too long to see Mario end up being kissed by Bowser and that guy. I forget his name, like I said. I cannot remember what his name is. It's been a little too long. I've been too busy playing the next game I'm going to talk about in a minute here. But yeah, I was like, what is going on here? One of the benefits of this version is autosave is now every time you enter, exit any area, door, whatever, it autosaves. So you don't have to worry about hitting the save all the time, which saves some time. So you're running back to the save block all the time. Like, oh, I need to save. No, it saved when you walked off screen. You're good. So that was definitely something I really appreciated. It's one of the reasons that I had never actually finished the original game, as I was like, there's such long periods of time between each save block, and I didn't always have enough time to just sit there and play that long, because sometimes it could take over an hour depending on just how many random enemies you're encountering. I did do the optional Kulex fight, which is the Final Fantasy reference, because I love Final Fantasy. While I may not have actually ever beat a Final Fantasy, something I need to do. It's definitely on my to-do list. I love the series. I'm familiar with the series. I know the majority of the games about what happens in them. Just because I've never had the time to actually sit there and actually play through the entirety of it. A lot of Final Fantasy games actually require a fair amount of leveling, and I'm like, I got better things to do, but thank you. So, whatever. So I did that fight. When I first got to that town, I thought I could do the fight because I flew through the Jinx fights, which is the martial arts master, which is the other optional fights. Those are generally considered kind of difficult, but I flew through them with little difficulty. I mean, I had to use special moves on the last version of the fights when he gets serious, as he calls it. But it wasn't too difficult, if you want to call it that. So I decided to do the next fight. I was like, well, maybe I actually am just somehow overleveled already. I was not. It just so happened that for some reason, I just got really lucky with those fights or something. I'm not really sure what happened with those fights, but I flew through them like they were nothing. Not so much of the Kulix fight. Went there and I was like, oh, that's right. He has the 4 crystals and they all cast magic. I had been putting all my level up points into the attack defense category for the physical stuff because the majority of enemies just kind of bop ya, and I had no reason to be concerned about the magic. So I was like, oops. So after that, I started putting all of the level up points into the magic attack, magic defense category instead, since Mario's magic defense is terrible. And Gino basically can die from being hit by anything until you've leveled him up way more than you would think you need to. He does a lot of attack damage, regardless whether you're using regular attack or magic attack, but he cannot take a hit. So I did that. I learned my lesson. Put all the points, started putting all the points into that. And I waited until I got to the last area after I had defeated the sword, because that's a separate fight from the actual final boss named Smithy that gets referenced throughout the whole game. And I didn't know it. Actually, I went up and fought the sword, and I was like, all right, I'm at the end of the game. I'm not? I'm not at the end of the game. Oh. The sword is not named Smithy. The sword is... Okay, whatever. The sword has a different name. Who cares? I don't even remember its name, because I was just so disappointed. I was like, but I was at the end. I was just, like, let down that I got tricked by the game and had not caught on to the fact that the sword is not Smithy. I was just like, but, okay, fine. So, I did that at that point. I was like, right, we're at the final area. Let's go ahead and go on the map. Go back there and take out Kulix before we actually beat the game, because it's like this final area has got to be the final area, I think. It's implied there's nowhere else to go because this area is not even on the map per se. You gotta kind of go through like the menu list. It's like, I don't know. How do I get there? Okay, whatever. So, I did that, whatever. The final stuff, though, is pretty cool. Like, getting through the Bowser stuff is... There's this area with 6 different doors, and you have to pass, I believe, 4 of the 6 doors. There's 2 action stages, 2 puzzle stages, and 2 battle stages. And I say stages because it's more than 1 room. It's like 3 rooms. And I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing with myself? But I did it somehow or other. Like, I remember, like, for a puzzle room, for the puzzle rooms, there's a room where you hit the coin block back and forth between you and, is it a Hammer Bro? I don't remember. And whoever hits the 21st coin, loses. And I counted out loud while I'm doing it. I'm like, I don't want to mess this up and have to do it again. So I count out loud as the coin stuff goes back and forth, and then just 1 coin needed to be hit for someone to lose. So I was like, all right, I end my turn, and then, the like I said, I think it's a Hammer Bro, takes its turn. It's like, all right, you win, moving on. I'm like, all right, whatever. I cannot remember. I'm trying to remember, like, see, I know there was, like, a stage where, like, the floor's invisible and you gotta, like, follow these, I think they were dry bones around and not touch them, of course. Let's see, there was they call it solitaire, but it's, like, I don't know how to describe it, but there's, like, 1 empty space and then there's these little ball things across the floor, and you have to kick a ball over the other ball to delete it. I forget what I've always called it, but it's not anything that I would consider solitaire, but whatever. It is a game. It's a thing that exists. I've seen it elsewhere before, but because I know there's just like limited tries and I don't want to have to redo all the rooms before that one, I looked it up. I was like, you know what? I got better things to do than figure this out. So I went ahead and did that and got through that room. Let's see. I'm trying to remember what I know. I did the two battle paths, and I know I obviously did one of the puzzle stages. I want to say that I might have done one of the action stages. I know one of them I absolutely could not do because it required too much precise jumping, and like I mentioned before, with the perspective, it's kind of like I am going to keep messing this up every time I try. I'm done. I have better things to do with my life than try to figure this out. Um, yeah, I did the rooms. Yeah, I believe it's four because I'm pretty sure I got um Gino's ultimate weapon, Peach's, and Bowser's, and then an item. I forget what the item was, which would have been useful if I ever actually used items in the game. I did not. I should have. I could have, but I didn't. I was like, I don't need them because that's what I do when I play RPGs. I just totally hoard items and then go, oh, I beat the game. I still have these items. Beating the game does not actually finish the game, if you will. It gives you credits and whatever, but it also gives you a clear save file that you can load and go back into the game to do anything you missed, any of the optional stuff. So I did that, went ahead, finished Mallow's Thought Peak journal of all the enemies. There was like a few that I hadn't Thought Peaked, so I don't think the original had this. There's a guy that accepts for, I think it's 3 frog coins per entry that you didn't get, and he'll fill it in for you. So I went ahead and did that. It's just kind of a bragging rights thing, I think. I don't remember actually getting anything for doing it. Pretty sure it was just bragging rights. Um, yeah, there's different things to do in the game, and overall, it's a fun game. It's one of those games that it's worth playing through. I don't know that I'll ever play it again. I don't know that I'll ever complete it, but it's something that I'm glad I finally sat down and played through the entirety of the game. Even if there was like the trickier parts where I was like, "Why are you making me platform? This angle is throwing me off and driving me crazy." But once you get past it, you're like, all right, you know what? I'm fine. We're good. We're back to the parts that I know what I'm doing, just running around and talking to people, which is what I'm good at in an RPG. So once I finally finished that, I moved on to a new game. It just came out the end of January. Uh, Genso Manage, which is a visual novel by, I forget, like I know Mages is one of the logos. There was like 3 logos. I know there was Mages. I just can't remember. But it was different than any visual novel I've actually played before. I've played a couple different visual novels. I've played all of Amnesia Memories. I completed that game. I've completed Oz Mafia, and I've completed shoot, what was the name? Like I knew a minute ago, it just right out of my mind. Uh shoot, what was the name of that game? Because it was a different visual novel. It had like, I'm gonna call them strategy battle sections. I don't really know what to call them. Oh shoot. Like if I saw it, I know exactly what it was I finished, but my mind just blanked. Oh gosh. I cannot remember the name of it. That's gonna drive me crazy. And I know there's one other one I've completed as well. Why am I just? Oh, I've completed Winter's Wish, Spirits of Edo. How do you say that word? Iggers. Anyway, that they're all vastly different from Getso Manage. So Getso Manage, for the most part, I mean, Surge's Root proves that there are sometimes that it decides to go down the drama, dangerous stuff going on route. But Hugo's route was like way too chill. um, so I want to basically say it's like a cozier visual novel than what I've played so far. As the other ones I've played, the one I can't remember the name of, there's like people being killed. There's a big mystery going on. Your life's in danger, essentially. And it's very easy to, like, accidentally get killed and screw it up. I had to use a walkthrough to get through that game without getting killed, and I still managed to die anyways. I messed up on, like, there was, like, an area towards the end. There's enemies that are invisible, and I kept screwing it up somehow. Anyway, um, the Winner's Wish game definitely has danger going on. In fact, there's like several bad endings involving if you basically go down the route of danger and you end up dead. And in the cases where you don't actually die, it's actually sadder, if that makes sense. I was like in tears whenever I played that game. Whenever I did any of the bad endings, I was like, I cannot. I was like a mess for hours. I was like, yeah, I'll play the next route later. Amnesia Memories definitely has a lot of like suspense going on with it because there is some dangerous stuff going on. It doesn't really make a lot of sense until you get to the final route once you've did the other 4 characters. I'm trying to remember how many characters there are. Yeah. You do the 4 characters, and there's stuff that goes on in their routes, but not nearly as dramatic as the 5th route where it's just danger at every corner. You're like, what is going on? And it's explained, but at the same time, it's just like, what? Oz Mafia. I mean, it's in the title. It's Wizard of Oz, but with Mafia. They're shooting at each other. It's crazy. But I mean, I like the like intensity of what's going on in those games. Genshin Manage is a amusement park because Manage, in case you don't know what that word is, because I didn't. I looked at the image and thought, I don't know, is he a magician? No. I don't know why he has a top hat on. He is not a magician. He is the director of the amusement park, the Foyer des Rêves. It's basically the Park of Dreams. His Rêve means dream, and it's kind of like their theme. There's stars, little tickets, a cute little star, and everything's all cute and sparkly. Anyway, he's a dude dressed like a bunny. He's actually one of the options for routes. I've not done his route yet. I'm looking forward to it just for the hilarity of the fact he's dressed like a rabbit. Goofiness aside, I'm trying. It's a very casual game. You start out, she finds out about the amusement park in town. Now, there is mention early on about the fact that there's something going on called the Hamlin phenomenon, with people disappearing and dying after the park leaves a place, but it's quickly dismissed. You quickly are like, the park has nothing to do with this, because there's obvious reasons that people cannot actually leave the park. You find out in each route why they can't leave the park, except for Crier, and he ain't doing it because duh. But it's just one of those things you're like, yeah, no, it's not the people at the park. So, whatever. I've been going the route that the developers recommend. They say you should do Hugo's first. Hugo's is considered the history route. It gives you the backstory of why this park is the way it is, what the protagonist, default name Emma, what Emma's tie to the park is, how she knows Hugo, because it is early on kind of hinted at she should remember him because he remembers her, and you're like, okay. And Arnaud, or however you say his name, definitely is like, ugh, this guy, great. And I'm like, what? It's completely covered in Hugo's root. It doesn't explain what Arno's deal with Hugo is, really. Outside of his concern for Emma's safety, it basically is what it comes down to. And it's like, well, okay. And it kind of continues in each route. Each route, he kind of is like, why are you just so persistent about being around this person? But once he's like, well, she loves them and I'm not going to interfere with that as long as she's safe. And it's like, good. Be a good boy. All right. So each route has two endings, which I actually like the fact that it's so basic like that. At least so far. I mean, I've not actually read ahead because I don't want to know ahead of time. I'm just glancing at a walkthrough of what options to choose. And so I've only been looking at each route I've done. So I've done Hugo's, I've done Surge's, and I got into Crier's route. And each of them only have two endings. And it looked like, based on the extras menu, that each route has two endings based on the little question mark things. And once you do it, it unlocks the image, just this like purple sparkles in the background and a picture of each character. But whatever. The game basically keeps track of stuff for you, or at least it should. So that's the only issue I've had with this game so far. It has glitches. So one of Hugo's CG did not unlock for me when it should have. Accessing it by reaching that point in the story again unlocked it though. So I've had some of the extra stuff that unlocks once you beat the story not show up on the screen. Had to close the game, re-enter the game, and then it worked. It's there's little optional things you can hear them. You can hear what they have to say about various things, their message, their feelings, their dislikes, their likes. And then there's an after story that actually gives you like what happens later on down the road, and it's like, oh, that's cute. It's a cute little story tidbit, and it's like, aw, that's adorable. Because you do get an epilogue at the end of the good ending of the route. After the credits, they go ahead and give you a little epilogue, and you're like, thank you. It's so cute. The bad endings are not as cute. Well, Hugo's bad ending wasn't actually, like, it was bad in the sense that it's like, well, that's not really ideal. But at the same time, it's like, well, I don't feel sad in this ending. Like, do I like it? Not really, because there's a better option of what could happen. It's something bad happens, but it doesn't like make you sad per se. You're like, well, did things go the way they wanted it to? No, absolutely not. But at the same time, they've adapted to it, and it's like, well, they'll still be happy in their own way. They're still gonna enjoy their life together, still gonna be happy, whatever. Obviously, ideally, you want the good endings. His good ending is way better than his bad ending for obvious reasons. But Surge's bad ending left me very sad. It is a sad bad ending. And I was like, that's what you're supposed to do with the bad ending. Make me sad, because you're mean. And of course, his good ending is good, and it's, yay, happiness. I'm sure it'll continue being that way with each of the routes. Only thing I've seen ahead of time is that Arnaud, or Arnaud, however you say his name, I really don't catch the pronunciation of everything in the game because I don't have the best hearing in the world. His is supposed to be the true route. So I'm like, so she's supposed to be with him? Okay. I guess I'll find out when I play it. I'm sure I'll have an opinion then. Right now, so far, my opinion is I was a bit skeptical at first. The game was boring me to bits. The first 3 chapters, it's just basically set up. You get a prologue and then you get 3 chapters. And I'm like, well, eventually I'll actually start the route. And I just kind of spin it going, really? That's what we're going to do. It's going to keep doing the same stuff at the beginning each time. Cool. Whatever. This is not very interesting at first. It's like, she goes to the park. She talks to people. She learns that the people are stuck at the park and that she can free them. She decides that she's going to do so. She gets to know each person just a little bit better. And I'm like, oh boy, I am so bored. But yeah, Manage is a carousel or a merry-go-round, whichever you want to call it. It's the horses that go up and down in a circle. I don't know what Genso means. I've not really seen it be mentioned. And it says it translates to anything as far as I can tell. So I'm like, Genso Manage. I know what Manage is, but what does Genso mean? That's driving me a little crazy. It's the only thing that it doesn't tell me. Alrighty. So yeah, that's all I've been playing through February. Let's get to stuff I got. Alright, so the only new stuff I got, we got 2 new things. I got Phantom Brave, the Lost Hero. I had pre-ordered it, and it came. And then this is the other game I pre-ordered, and it came. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. When I remembered that this was coming, and I saw a sale going on through Video Games Plus. It's a Canadian business, but they also ship to the United States. I decided to go ahead and get all of the Yakuza games in physical form. I had most of them digitally, but I wanted to go ahead and get the discs so that I would know for sure I had everything. So you got Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, Yakuza Kiwami 2, the Yakuza Remastered Collection. This is 3, 4, and 5. Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. I'm like, what was the title? Oop, stay. Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name. This one's kind of like a side title, but it's part of the series. Like a Dragon Ishin. I believe Ishin means 7 in Japanese. I'm trying to remember. Yeah. Anyway, who cares? Yakuza Like a Dragon. This was actually the start of the new series, if you will, call it that. This is an RPG. Although this is a Like a Dragon title, this is not an RPG. It went back to being the brawlers that they're known for. Anyways, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. Those are, of course, the main titles, and like the Gaiden one, I guess, is technically kind of the Gaiden and Ishin are kind of side titles, but I want to play them anyways, just because it's part of the series. I also got these, Judgment and Lost Judgment. These take place in the same area, I guess is a way to put it. And rather than being on the Yakuza or crime side of things, it is the um, detective police side of things. Okay, I went to my local game store that does trades with games and has used games and stuff. I traded in some game repeats I had because I said, why do I have all these? I don't think I need more than one copy of each game because I'm only going to play one of them, obviously. So I took care of that problem. And in exchange for doing so, I was able to get 4 games and a plushie of Miku as a blue bunny. This is Hatsune Miku, you know. Her little butt thing says Miku on it. Anyway, I like bunnies and I like Miku. I only have 3 of her games currently, but I do hope to get more Miku games later on because I do like Hatsune Miku. I have little figures of her in the background there. You can kind of see them up on my shelf. I like her. All right. I only had to pay tax. Basically, it was like $20 tax. Once I got done with everything because I got quite a bit. All right, so outside of her, I got this. This actually was brand new. I had to unwrap it. Blue Reflection Second Light. I don't have the first Blue Reflection. I'm hoping to find one on sale because I'm only seeing it for like $62. And I'm like, ugh, that's more than retail for it. I'm sure. Um, Triangle Strategy. I had been kind of iffy about getting this at first. I like strategy role playing games. I've liked them since I was little, and I played Shining Force on the Genesis. But I heard conflicting stories about the storyline in the game, like whether the story was good or not. Um, but the YouTuber I've been recently watching, I tend to agree more with her opinions on games than the person I had watched that said that the story was not good. She said the story was good, and I'm like, I kind of agree more with her opinion on games, though. So I'm gonna take her word for it. um, I've been meaning to pick this up. Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition. So this is actually 2 games. You get both Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory. They were released as 2 separate titles originally, so this actually has both on it. And then I was torn between getting this or the remastered version. This one was on sale for a little bit cheaper. You see, I only paid $24 for it. Tales of Symphonia. They wanted $40 for the remastered, so I went with the GameCube original. Plus, I don't have that many GameCube games, and I figured, why not? Is that it? Yes. So those are all the games I picked up, which I make it sound like that's not a lot, but it clearly is a lot. There's 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 games here. So, um, they're all games that I do look forward to playing, obviously. That's why I went ahead and got them. I want to say there's not going to be a lot of games next month, but I think I got like 5 games pre ordered. And I already got a game that came officially in March. I don't count as part of February, even though I'm recording this after receiving the game. And I ordered it because it was on sale. It was like $15 or something. I can't remember exactly, but I was excited about getting it because it was on sale. And it's part of a series that I already picked up the other 2 titles for, and I was like, you know what? Go ahead and get it while it's on sale. I'm one of those people like if I'm gonna play a series, I'm gonna play the whole entire series, regardless. Which ends up being a good thing sometimes. Like with the Gensou Manager game, I went with my initial impressions after 2 hours of sitting there through the opening and going, I just don't care. Um, I wouldn't have found out that later on there is stuff I do care about and I'm really into it and I legitimately cared about a character enough that cried at his bad ending. So I give games the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, it might just be it's a slow start for me. Maybe the beginning of it's not my jam. Other games that I don't actively seek out are platformers because I'm terrible at platformers. I am. I don't know why, but I'm just plumb terrible at any kind of platformer. Any other game, I will at least give it a good, decent try before giving up. So yeah, that is everything. Yeah. For some reason I thought there was something else, but there's not. I don't. I think it's just because I got through the game so fast, and I was like, wait, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. Okay. So the only other thing is not actually a game, but rather a oh gosh device. I went ahead and got the Midnight Black PlayStation Portal. Um, my internet works really good at home here, so I love this. It allows me to basically walk away from my PlayStation 5 and go relax wherever I want to and play whatever is on my PlayStation 5. This is probably going to be how I play every single Yakuza game. I'll be honest. But I've noticed a lot of times I prefer to play games in handheld mode. I tend to go to my Switch more than I do any other console in my room. The only other console I've given attention to before was the Wii U, and the only reason I've been ignoring it is because I don't have it hooked up. If I had it hooked up, it would be the other console that I paid the most attention to. Right now, it's just my Switch. I'm like constantly, all right, I'm gonna try to finish this route today, which is kind of my thing. I'm like, I'm gonna finish this game. So like each time I game, I prefer to have a game that I can just like hold handheld and just lay back and play. Um, and plus I can like pause it and put the handheld aside into sleep mode or whatever if I want to watch YouTube and take a break for a minute. So I went ahead and got that. I was like, now I know I'll actually play through all my PlayStation games and quit putting them off. I'll be able to get through all my PS4 and PS5 titles and anything I have access to through my PlayStation Plus membership and quit trying to just put it aside and put it aside and put it aside. Alright. That was the last thing to cover. It works wonderful. It has a touch screen for the PlayStation Portal options and stuff, which is pretty cool, if you ask me. The main function of the touchscreen is it represents the touchpad on the controller. It has built-in rumble function. The built-in headphone connection works really good. And as long as you have a stable internet connection and both your PlayStation 5 and your Portal are hooked to it, it will run so smooth. It's really, really good. And the screen is beautiful too. I would show you, but my PlayStation 5 is not on. My Switch is because I'm going to go back to playing Ginso Manache. I might have a slight problem. I'm like, Ginso Manache. Alright, I believe that is all. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. I really should make notes. I'll have to make notes next time. Until next time, thank you for watching. Bye.